promised you that we would come on live a lot more and talk to you a lot more about the subjects that we usually talk about, because usually it's a one-sided thing, right? I get on here and I talk about rock and roll, and you guys will, say something in the comments. But I think it's a little bit more kind of like the format where you guys come on with me and we talk about this. We touched on this morning with the David Lee Roth canceling his Vegas residency, which was a shock, I think, to a lot of people and not so much for other folks. He insinuated in the original article that I talked about from Ultimate Classic Rock, great site, love it, where his doctors had said that, well, every time you go on stage, it could be the last time you go on there, You got to look after your health. And then now there's been statements that say it's basically because of Omicron and COVID-19. But we're getting back on to talk about the fact that, with these reunion tours being pushed back and back and back, there's only so much time they'll have to go on here and do these tours. They're not getting any younger. Rockers, in 20 years, we won't have a Beatle. Not that I want to come on here and be in sad sack at all in any way, shape, or form, but it was a subject that was brought up this morning, and I kept thinking, wait a minute, yeah. Elton John's farewell tour is being pushed back all the time, and Davey's guitarist is in good health. He's about to release his new album. Nigel Olsson was in the studio with Jason Scheff, formerly of Chicago. Nigel looked great. He looked very healthy, but he certainly didn't look young because he's not. We're all getting older, right? And so I looked at that and I'm thinking, wow, well, how far back is this going to be pushed? Elton John seems to be in very good health. I will say that. That's a good thing. Elton seems like he's lost weight. But Paul McCartney, let's look at some ages. And we did this morning. Hi, Maria. Hi, Maria. Didn't you just break your arm or something? Was that you? I hope not. But after a while, we get to know some of the folks who communicate with us all the time. Or they become Facebook friends of ours. And, we get to know their life a little bit. For instance, the Stones, and you saw the poster for this video, which basically had the guy who will never pass away, and everyone looks at Keith Richards as the man who will be here forever. Davida, hi, John. Surf Boy, hey, John. They're running out. It's emotional for all of us. I'm closer to sunset than sunrise myself. Mick Costello, if we lose, Tony Iommi, we lose a legend. You know what? I worked in a shoe store. I've said this before. I always say a week. I'm not sure how long it was. It could have been a month, with a guy named Tommy Iommi, spelt exactly the same way, the last name. So a lot of times I go on and instead of saying Tony, I'd say Tommy, because I kept in contact with the guy for a little while after that. But the Stones, Jagger is 78 years old. There you go. Keith Richards is 78, looks a lot older than 78. And I drove a Subaru Outback for a little while. My father-in-law gave it to me for $1. It was a 97, didn't have a lot of miles on it, but it was still a 97. I bring that up because I remember we used to say at the end of time, my Subaru Outback, 97 Subaru Outback will still be around on the earth. And so will cockroaches and Mick Jagger, just hanging around, not Mick Jagger, Keith Richards. There you go. Hey, it's Keith. Keith, you're always missing our live broadcast. You're the man. Ronnie Wood's 74 years old. We lost Charlie Watts at 80. Streisand is 79. Like, what the? I know we're talking about rockers, but I always put everyone in the same category. Tony Bennett is 95. He had to quit because he couldn't do it anymore. Paul McCartney is 80. He will be 80 in June. Ringo Starr is 82 in July. Bob Dylan is 80 in May. Yeah, Keith, finally, huh? Surf Boy, yeah, even talking about losing them. But it's something that came up this morning because I kept going, well, wait a minute. Because I say this sometimes, in 20 years, we'll have no more Beatles, which is hard to take because it's going to happen. But with COVID, and like yesterday, I was just saying, COVID, for the most part, is going to be something we're going to have to live with. Even though it'll be around for a long time, but it might end up being like the flu. Do I know this? No, I don't. This morning, I read on a website that said that there will be maybe another variant in some form of maybe lesser symptomatic. I don't know. But let's just say Steve Perry is 72. Is that right? I got to write that down. I didn't write that one down. Thank you. You want to see some scrap? Look at this. What the? That's some scrap. Yeah, 72 years old. And how often do you want, everyone expects rock stars or looks at rock stars as if they're going to last forever, right? And we want them to last forever. And we'll look at them maybe with our eyes as if they were younger. And sometimes it's shocking seeing someone in person. And I know that. I've seen some video of myself. I'm going to be 62 in 3 weeks. And sometimes I'll look at my video and go, I shouldn't be that close to the camera because it's pretty scary. But we all age. We don't want our rock stars to age. They're always above us anyway, most of the time. Not everyone gets to meet them when you find out they're like shorter than you or whatever. But they're usually up on stage and you're going, wow, look at them up there. It's great. But what's going to happen in 20 years? Overstating the obvious. I know I am. I realize that. But just an example. Dionne Warwick, she just turned 81 in December. Willie Nelson is going to be 89 in April. I love Willie Nelson. Hold on. David Lee Roth only has like 5 years on me, but he's had a rock star life. The term I use too often, when in Rome. I mean, when you're a rock star, sometimes you do that. And a lot of you have heard me say that a lot of these rock stars, when I interview them in the morning, I'll always say, man, that breaks the stereotype. And they go, oh, we can't do that anymore, man. I'd be dead a long time ago, you know? So Paul Carrick, someone had mentioned, is 70. Ozzy Osbourne is 73, and he's had a heck of a life. He's lived the rock star life. What do we got? Oh, the Def Leppard guys, like for instance, Def Leppard. They're from from more of an 80s band, right? Joe Elliott is 62, Rick Savage 61, Rick Allen's 58. Phil, who looks like Hercules anyway, he's 64. Like, here's Phil, call him the oldest guy in the band, looks like the youngest guy in the band because he really looks after himself. He's got no shirt on up there when he's playing guitar, and he looks like Hercules. Vivian Campbell is 59. Iron Maiden, kind of the same thing. We've got Steve Harris, he's 65. Dave Murray, 65. Adrian is 64. Bruce, of course, Mr. Pilot is 63. Nico is 69. And Yannick is 64. What do we got? What else we got? Oh, I don't want to come on here and just name off birthdays or ages. Hey, even Betty White was painful. Yes, Surf Boy, I agreed on that. I came on live to do that one. I just, oh no, I didn't go on live because with our channel. I did a live thing and it ended up not going up because our channel wasn't monetized enough. I'm on there and I'm ready to talk about Betty White on our sister channel, Nail Sheet. And I went, oh, we can't go on live because we have enough subscribers. We don't have enough hits. That's just a video channel that I kind of play with because I don't always want to cover just rock and roll. I like covering entertainment. JW Primetime. Tom Scholes is 75. Let's write that down. Boston. Yeah, I know he was up there. It's been 5 years since he toured. I wish I knew wow. Has it been that long, guys? Since Boston toured? We just talked to Barry Goudreau last year and Jim Mastia last year, the original drummer for Boston, who was he was on the entire album, and then in the end, he was only on Rock and Roll Band. They replaced him with Sib Hashian, right? The remaining Pink Floyd guys are in their mid-70s. Yeah. Bass bus music. Robert Settle. Jackie Blue. All the members of Ozark Mountain Daredevil are in their 70s. Yeah, but in some cases, some of the guys in the Ozark Mountain Daredevils kind of they had that kind of look, you know? It's like the Grateful Dead always looked like they were a lot older than they were. Gregory Tudero. Chris Squire was really tough for me. And some other, yes, yeah. Vidam Music, Sammy Hagar, 74, thank you. Hagar, 74. He is, I've heard him singing. Am I wrong or did I get a good clip? He sounds like he still can sing pretty damn good. He's still got that grit, you know what I mean? Like I always like that about Joseph Williams with Toto because he's got that growl. He's still got it. But Joe of Toto really worked at it, and Joe's I think we're the same age. I'm not sure. Ben Benjamin, country, western, and blues artists can age, and it doesn't seem to matter. That's true. A lot of them, though, especially a lot of the '70s country, the stuff that I like, the '60s country and the '70s country, and even some of the '80s, and I like '90s country. I stopped liking country altogether because it all sounded the same to me. Barry Goudreau, guitarist, yes. Thank you, Keith. Phil Browser's talking to Keith this morning. We're talking about it was actually Keith who let me know. Thanks, Keith, about David Lee Roth. Keith is always sending me stories. So from now on, because we don't do current breaking music news on this channel, we do a lot of interviews. Almost every day we have an interview. It's Joseph Williams, 61. There you go. The same age as me. One of my favorite interviews, to be able to talk to a singer that you idolize as much as him and not wanting to be a fanboy. But once you talk to Joseph Williams, you're just going, yeah, how's it going? Mickey Dolenz is 76. Oh, thank you. I'm writing it down. I like country up to Garth Brooks in the late 90s. Yeah, JT Sharkey, you're right. There's something that happened to country music in the late 90s. That stuff that Mavericks, Crying Shame I loved. That kind of like rock and country stuff I really like. Now it sounds like pop music with a twang, and I don't like it. My son loves it. Mark, he just loves country music, and you like what you like. Now, I wouldn't come up to my son and say, what are you, crazy? You can't be crazy. He likes what he likes. Oh, Blackie Lawless is 65, 10 years older than me. Yeah, JT Shark. My fave country music is all the outlaw country stuff. Yeah, I agree with you there. Andy Scott is 73. We talked to Andy last year. And we're planning on talking to him again this year. He doesn't know this yet, but we're going to talk to him. Steve Winwood, 73. Eric Clapton, 76. Maria Day. Thank you guys for all this. Even Richard Marks, Maria, he's 58. Man. John Anderson is 77. A lot of these people we've had on this channel. For anyone who's jumping on here and they're not familiar with this, maybe you're new to this channel, please subscribe, by the way. I never say this enough. People are always giving me hell, say, why aren't you telling people to subscribe on our live broadcast? I don't know. Do my best, man. But thank you. Appreciate that. Keith, country is just pop now. Yuck, I agree. Gregory Tadero, sad Phil Collins is in his current state. Yeah, and again with Phil, I applaud him for wanting to do it again because, they're selling out, so people want to see it. I think it's hard for some people, but because of his condition. But classic rock is different. Boomers grew up with it, and it's a youth-based cultural revolution. There's nothing like it before. Surf Boy, thank you. David Williams, I miss Mike Nesmith. Shame Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah, we're not inducting them. Showstopper Rob. Richard Marks is the Benjamin. What? Is the Benjamin then? I don't know what that means. JW Primetime. Deborah Harry toured when she was 73. Oh, wow. Yeah, Blondie. I always thought she was beautiful no matter what. There was just something about I'm going, what a rock and roll princess she is. And I mean that in the nicest terms. So let's look at some of these. Willie Nelson, he's going to be 89 years old in April. And it's not like we're going to come here and say, how old will he live? We don't know. That could be anything. There's rockers that, that die when they're in their 20s. When I was looking at some of the band members, hold on, what have I got? Oh, Judas Priest. Rob is 70. So is Ian. Ian Hill's 70. Glenn Tipton is 74. Scott Travis is 60. Well, Richie Faulkner, he's just been with them for 10 years, but he's 42. Can you imagine those old guys having a 42-year-old on there? But it's worked, right? It's worked. Rick Emmett is 68. Rick Emmett interviewed Rick more than most artists that I've ever talked to. Probably 8 times, I think. And Rick never comes off as the Rick that was on stage. I've told him that before. I said, you don't come off like that guy. Because the last time we talked for 2 hours. At the end, he was saying, John, you're killing me. He doesn't come off, even though he looks completely different than that. But then again, he doesn't. It's still him. You can tell that's that face. His hair's shorter. But he comes across, and he has a curious mind. He comes across as a very young man. I would think and again, it's stupid to predict these things, but I would think Rick just has one of those clear minds. He's got, he doesn't believe in any psychic stuff, doesn't believe, he believes there's an explanation for everything. And it's sobering to talk to Rick Emmett because of, we really got into it last time. Check out the interview. It's on our sister channel, Rock History Book. This is Rock History Music. Triumph was great. You damn right. DBC105. Thank you. Randy Jackson of Zebra 68. JT. Name your top 10 Monkey songs. Elton John, yeah, 74 years old. I've got the... Elton John is going to be 75 in March. Billy Joel is 72. As they push this back with... And again, remember yesterday, if you were here, I said, well, I think this is going to end. And when I said that, I didn't really mean end to end. I think we're going to be living with COVID for a long time. But will COVID be like the flu? Just because Omicron is showing us that it's more contagious, but less severe, what's going to happen with another, what's down the road? I was just reading something, as I mentioned today, that I'm going, wait a minute, this is going to be around a lot longer. If you're 80 years old, do you want to be on the road? I mean, look at what David Lee Roth did. He's 67. Is it 67? It looks like 67, yeah. Does he, and if he has anything, remember they used to say, let me go there. Remember when people had AIDS? No one was saying you died of AIDS. You died of an opportunistic infection. You died of pneumonia. You died of something. And that's what happens when you're old. The chances of an opportunistic infection or something already being wrong with you in general, when you get this virus, and all these rock stars have to watch that. And a lot of these rock stars have lived a really rock star life, right? So do you want to be on stage belting out in front of a microphone or whatever instrument you play? It's kind of dangerous. Didn't Richie Faulkner have a heart attack a few months ago? I don't know. Did he? Neil Young is 76. Thanks for the info, by the way. Roger Waters is 78. Will be 79 in September. Thanks, Showstopper Rob. Appreciate your information. Flo Quiz. Bonjour, John. I wish you a très bonne année. MPRRPR. Donald Fagen is up there as well. Yes. Thank you for all the information. I appreciate you guys coming on here and talking about this stuff. Brian May is 74. Shannon is doing a thing right now upstairs on rock stars with hidden talents. And of course, Brian May, being a man of space and time, is on that list. And we've decided to start doing kind of fun videos for Rock History Book, or other channel, of not only, we're doing a lot of people who died too young, and those did really well, but after a while we went, well, we want to do happy stuff too. Even though negativity sells, we all know that. We want to do some happy videos of hidden talents, so Brian May's on there. I think we were going to do Bob Dylan. He's coming up in part 2 because he does sculptures and stuff. COVID will stay for a long time. This is VDAM Music. COVID will stay for a long time, unfortunately. We'll probably never see these old timers again. You never know. I think that's the point of this video, of going, what's going to happen? I hope Elton John can get back on the road. I would rather Elton John stay safe than go on the road for me, Davey Johnston, his guitarist, is about to release an album, by the way. Andy Summers is 79. Yeah. I'm not going to repeat your swear word, Keith, because I'll get the... Yeah. He's laughing right now. Keith is one of my best buddies that I've ever met on the internet. And Keith, you got to come visit us next year, if we're not all dead. Ta-da! Yeah. Mr. Happy Pants, John Bowden. Rock child of the 60s, you have literally read my mind. I figured this pandemic would change touring legends because they're mostly in their 70s and start at the start of the pandemic. Rock child of the 60s, you have videos up? Because with a name like that, you sound like you'd have a video channel up. Flo says, what about Steve Perry, Steven Tyler? They're teenagers. Not anymore. Steve Perry's 72. According to someone, I didn't double check that. Robert Plant doesn't want to do a Led Zeppelin tour because he says he's not that young man anymore. I agree with him, Surf Boy. Chauncey Gardner. Hey, Chauncey. Nice to have you back. This is not Chicago. It's a cover band. That is not Chicago. It's a cover band. Oh. I think I like Robert Lamb so much that I would go see Chicago to see Robert Lamb. I'm such a big fan of his voice, his writing. Gregory Tudaro says Joe Walsh is 74. Wow. Daryl Hall is 75. See, let's just say everyone's predicting it's going to get worse in the next little while before it gets better. January and February will not be good months. No matter how you look at vaccines or masks, I'm wearing my M95 or N95, whatever it is, the big one that sticks out. Yesterday, I wore it for the first time for a long time. I've worn it before, but. JW Primetime says, Joe Walsh will be the last Eagle standing, mark my words. You never know. It's kind of like Keith Richards thing. Anthony Ferguson, Howard Kalin has been silent for years now. No health issues. With health. Oh, is that right? Rockchild in the 60s? Good grief, no. You don't? Okay. I was just curious if you had videos. Rick, Top 40 Hub. Brian Wilson will be 80 this year. I never even thought of Brian Wilson, of course. Daryl is 75. No friggin' way. Rockchild in the 60s. Just concert footage on private only. Maria Day, Barry Manilow is 78. Whoa. See, for whatever reason, that one, I still have my Barry Manilow CDs over there. I think even now would have been the last one I bought. Copacabana. Surf Boy. Brian Wilson is amazing. Outlived both of his brothers, yeah. Rockchild of the 60s. Has anyone heard anything from Randy Meisner lately? I don't know. I was about to put that interview up, by the way, the interview I did in the 2000s with Randy, to do it as a podcast and put it up. There's parts that you can't understand what he's saying, and it was done in the studio at the radio station I still work at, QM-FM in Vancouver. It's now Move 103. And it was done, they changed buildings since then, but it was done in Vancouver with an engineer and everything. Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull is 74. Wow. Walter from Chicago is turning 77. The only plus of having COVID, I'm actually catching this live for once. You have COVID? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. How are you feeling? What are your symptoms like? Are you vaccinated? Flo says, I'm the only one who sometimes tries to imagine how rock stars who died young could be if they were still alive. Oh yeah. You're not alone there. I think a lot of people do that. I think of Jimi Hendrix and Jimmy Morrison an awful lot. Jim Morrison especially. Well, John, about the COVID thing, it's much longer on the planet than most people think. In 2015, it was discovered and then got the name SARS. Don't know anything about that, but thanks for that. Kim Trickle, Ringo will be 82 as well. Yeah, we were mentioning that. Terry Kemp, Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees is 76. Soulful Music 100. Carole King will be 80 next month. I just recorded the Carole King James Taylor thing last night. It was on last night. Vida Music, Dino will be the new lead singer of Whitesnake after the farewell tour with the blessings of David Coverdale. Is that right? Rockchild in the 60s. Last time he was on video, he looked like he was suffering from dementia, sadly. Oh. John, greetings from Florida. Can you believe William Shatner is 90? Wolf Tracks. Hey, nice to have you back. DBC 105. Okay, Paul McCartney will be 80 this year. Yes, he will. We were mentioning that. Ben Benjamin, Tommy Collins, Walter P. Chicago has Alzheimer's. Yeah. These are coming in way too fast. I can't read them all. I'll get back to the comments in a second. But here's the thing. I don't see concerts coming back, big concerts coming back anytime soon. I don't, I have some people that I know that went to, dances on New Year's Eve and get-togethers on New Year's Eve. And some of them were trying to stay safe, and others, they're just doing their thing. And the argument's always, well, you should be able to do what you want to do. But unfortunately, this is a contagious disease. It's just going to happen. It's human nature where people are going to go, I'm so sick of this. I'm sick of this COVID. People are going to say it over and over again. They don't want to deal with it. They're done with it. And I totally get you, man. I get you. We're all sick of this. But these farewell tours are going to be pushed back. David Johnston of the Elton John Band, it's a good thing that he had time. He did an album. So I'm really happy about that. Hopefully we'll get him on because I've always wanted to talk to him. And now artists are coming on screen as opposed to doing phone calls. I freaking hate phone interviews. We're just finishing the Joey Mullen Badfinger interview. We almost got him on screen, but we never did. And the quality of the phone call is terrible. So just be ready for that on this channel. Part 1's going up or part 3's going up tomorrow. Because part 1 was about the suicides in the band, of course. Okay. Nothing thrills me more than seeing your 70s heroes perform live. Love how they still have it in them, I guess you're trying to say. COVID will go eventually. Let's stay positive. You're right. I think it will go. I think that the problem with older performers is they can't afford to catch COVID. That's the only thing. It's going to be like I said a while ago, like when you have AIDS in the 80s and an opportunistic infection would kill you. AIDS wouldn't, but something else will. And I mentioned that in a way that if you have a pre-existing condition of any type, my wife, Shannon, who's 11 years younger than me, she has an autoimmune disease. And if she got COVID, it would not be good. Our daughter's on medication for seizures. And if she had COVID, it would not be a good thing. So she's autistic. Do you think the Motley Deaf Poison show is going to get canceled again? Yeah, Mick he looks so fragile, eh? He looks really, really, and has for quite a few years. Stevie Nicks will be 74 this year, but she is still the same. Yeah. And she had, did a lot of this stuff, but she's looking healthy. COVID completely killed rock music. Rock child in the 60s. Rick Top 40 Hub. I think my concert days are over. I've seen everyone I want to see. ELO was my final bucket list show in 2019. Did you enjoy it? I'm sure you probably like it. The Jeff Lynne Band. Tina Turner is 80. I'd still see ELO. I've never seen them. DBC 105. A few still have their voice. Sammy. David Coverdale, Ann Wilson. Ann Wilson sounds amazing. It's crazy. It's just nuts. Ann Wilson looks really good. She looks healthy. So Bob C. Perry says, I saw John Waite last month, and he did a small meet and greet before the show. It took a picture with me. I was surprised. Oh, wow. He looks good. He still looks really good. Bill Bowers, COVID will continue to get worse, though through mutation, and theaters and concerts are dead. Again, I don't want to come on here and be a Debbie Downer, but I'm being a Debbie Downer, I guess, because it is a question of people running out of time. And if you're 80, would you want to go out? And if you're 85 years old and not do a meet and greet like the gentleman was talking about with John Waite, but would you want to be in that situation? And this thing is, you know what they say about Omicron? It's sticky. You know what I mean? If it's on your face, somehow it'll find its way over there underneath the mask. It's the strangest thing. Tina Turner's completely done. Yeah, that's true. Trucker Kev, the paid tourist. I love the name. Eventually, we're all going to run out of time except for Keith Richards. You the man. Yeah. DBC 105. It will always be Jeff Lynne Band. Yes. Rick Top 40 Hub. Yes, Jeff Lynne ELO was great. Bill Bowers, thank you for reiterating. So you're a smart guy, Rick, because a lot of people will do what they'll go as, and it's an honest mistake. They'll answer the question, yes, it was. But I'm already like 20 comments down. I forget what I even asked you because there's too many comments to read, right? Terry Kemp, Jerry Lee Lewis is in his 90s and still going. I never would have predicted Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah. Flo says, if some of our idols won't be able to play on stage, don't forget some tribute bands are really good. I have a problem with tribute bands. Not that I wouldn't see them, but I don't know if I want to pay money to see a tribute band, even though there's a lot of work put into that. I mean, the music's already there, and if you can play your instrument, you can replicate it. Some, of course, bands are harder than others, like Rush, but Surf Boy says, I can't imagine a world without Paul McCartney. Oh my, that's how this started for me. I'm going, what? There's going to be a world, because Paul was always my favorite. Sorry about the chair squeaking. It's really noisy. He's always been my favorite Beatle. I like when Saturday Night Live make fun of him. The boogie woogee and the, rock child of the 60s. I watched a reality show for 5 minutes about famous people's kids. Pat Benatar's daughter is on the show, and they show Pat, and my first thought was, who's that old lady? Broke my heart. Really? I think Pat looks good. But I have to admit, I haven't seen her in a while. Not that we want to, listen, you grow old, It's just that I know you don't mean any harm by that, because it is sometimes weird to see someone who, on some level, will always be that person on the album cover, right? And then you see them and you go, oh, okay, things have changed. You know what I mean? And I get that sometimes when I do interviews. There was a female rocker that I was planning on interviewing, and she didn't want to go on camera. I can't tell you who it is. I promised her I wouldn't, but she didn't want to come on camera. And I said, just stand in front of and you look great. What? But it's okay. She's allowed not to want to, and I respected that. I said, the best thing for an interview is not these little round things that I'm using. The best thing for an interview, if any one of you do Zoom calls, you stand in front of a picture window, of a big window, with not direct light on you, but indirect light. Of course, by default, it would be there. And that's the best lighting you could even ask for. This lighting's not bad, these little round circle things. But if they don't have that, and you would be amazed by how many rock stars don't have microphones hooked up, there's a big echo in the room. There's a lot of people doing what I do, and they have the big echo. When Shannon and I do it upstairs, there's a big echo. Yeah, but anyway, I'm going off topic here. She looked old and frail on the show. Oh, okay. Trucker Kev. Rock child of the 60s. Oh, you guys talking to each other? Australian Pink Floyd is very good too. Oh, okay. Yeah, I when I saw Pat the last time, I thought she looked amazing. But everyone's version of that is different. And I would never, But here's the thing too. Some people age and they look better when they get older. For whatever reason, you see those silver fox guys with the gray hair, and they're thin. They have that capability of not eating too much, which is hard for me. I'm not a big guy, but I still have to watch. And then you see them and you go, wow, you actually look better. I think Steve Hackett on some levels, mind you, he had the big glasses from Genesis. I think Steve Hackett looks better now than he ever did. He just has that kind of like cool older guy thing. I think Steve Perry looks good with his gray hair. There's an adjustment there you have to make when you see him, because he had that long hair. Gordon Lightfoot is, Jeff Hansen says, Gordon Lightfoot is 83. He's on my bucket list. I saw him once. I'm 62 in February. I'm 62 in February as well. When in February? I'm February 1st. I'm an Aquarius. Trucker says, take a look at Ann Wilson's 2021 performances from a few months ago. I don't know what it is. Ann Wilson's like wrapped up into something that's, she's always been my favorite of the sisters. Not just because she's the lead singer. She's got the bigger voice than Nancy. But I used to tell people, I'm going to marry Ann Wilson. Ann Wilson will be my wife. Oh, yes. And I hated the comments about her weight gain. I hated that. I remember going, I don't care. Leave her alone. Jesus. February 4th. Hey, we're like a few days apart. Right on. We're made of something special. That's all I have to tell you. Thanks, Jeff. Hope you subscribe to our channel. And by the way, anyone who is coming on here, we're going to do a lot more of these coming on and talking to you guys so you can be part of a live conversation on whatever topic we're talking about. If it means we come on once a day, we'll come on once a day. 3 is pushing it. But if it's something that's breaking, if someone passes away, I think 50,000 people came on, we were talking about Eddie Van Halen because it was just such a phenomenon. The fact that Eddie Van Halen is dead? What? And people were just shocked. It was crazy. Excuse me. Oh, that's attractive. Bill Bowers. Oh, yeah, pay-per-view concerts could possibly replace them. When you're older like that, I mean, I can't say it enough. Do you want to be on stage when when COVID's around, when you're 85 years old? Why would you do that after a long life, a successful career? Well, obviously a difficult career because music's not an easy business. And do you have the stamina to be up there? Are you more susceptible to catching something, especially if you're on stage with something that, is airborne? Oh, Barry says February 7th for me will be 61. I've got a year on you. Big Who fan. You know, the embarrassing thing about The Who with me is the first Who album I actually bought, I had cassettes of recorded stuff, was Who Are You? And I was 18 at the time. I'm going, what the heck? I waited that long, and I love Who Are You? I love that album so much. Trucker says, hang when I can, but the road calls for 32 years. So if I got time sitting on a shipper or eating or drinking coffee. Oh, you guys talking with each other? That's cool. Wolf Tracks, Roger Waters looks better for his age. Yeah, he always looked so gaunt, and there was something about his look when he was young. Some people just look better when they're older. It's just that thing. I'd rather look the way I look now than, I don't think I have a picture of me in the 80s. Hold on. Oh, there, you want to see Mr. Cool Guy? There's Mike Monte Carlo, Mr. Cool. Look at that perm. You gotta love that. That was in Edmonton, but that's not a bad one. Oh, look at this. Me and my mom. Who is that? Long-haired freaky people need not apply. So, going through some albums. Oh, and one more. Me and my Ford Probe. Oh, what a dude. Dude is one way of putting it. There you go. There's my son, Mark, at a radio station I worked at. I still work at that station, just not in that building anymore. I don't have a picture where I look like a dweeb. I'd rather look the way I look now. I think, yeah, Rockchild, I think Steve Perry looks great. I'm going to, yes, JW Primetime. I don't know if I'll ever go to another concert again. I don't know. We went to a Christmas craft place and they had everyone separated. But knowing what I know now about Omicron, I don't think I would. ABBA Live, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Avatar show because of what's happening. Will people see, now you've got no ABBA. It's not really ABBA. It's their new music and their old music. But will people go? Oh my God, John, yeah, Rockchild, I know. You look like Gowan. I've never heard that before. Never, ever. That's the first time. Surf Boy, haha. Trucker, great picks except the Probe one. Women hate the name of that car. I used to be in such amazing shape back then. I was running all the time. Hold on. I was like, yeah, the old days. Yeah, we all have those. Okay. Where is it? Oh, this is when a week after I met Shannon. Oops. Here's me and Shanny. Shannon hasn't changed too much. Yeah, this one. You don't like this one. Mr. Exercise. And that was my 310 Datsun in the back. A Ford Probe. I just bought it brand new. Yeah, there you go. What a dude. Me and my pink sneakers. What the heck? Anyway, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks for everyone who came on. I appreciate that. Mind you, we have 73 people. So does anyone else have something to say they want to talk about their... This is why I read the obituaries in Wikipedia every day, by the way. It was John Paul Jones' 76th birthday yesterday. Yes, it was. There was a lot of things on Facebook about John Paul Jones. Yeah. ABBA live pay-per-view, Bill? Yeah, perhaps. I mean, out of curiosity, I'd like to see it, but I don't know if I'd pay to go see it. And unfortunately, the new album, which I thought was good, kind of dropped like it was a thud. I don't know why. One of the songs sounded like I Have a Dream, one of the two new songs that came out in the beginning. And then it changed. Barry Gibb is 75. Keith, yeah, thank you. Rockchild, the 60s. Anyone watch the show Yellowstone? I swear the guys from Redbone was on. Oh, yeah. Well, the guy, the isn't the lead singer from Redbone? He passed. I'm pretty sure he's gone. Long gone, as a matter of fact. Hit the like button. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That was Soulful Music 100. Melody R. Geddy Lee still looks great. Geddy Lee still looks like Geddy Lee. Isn't that crazy? Alex has aged a little bit, but, again, man, every year. And remember now, I'm doing videos. You guys got pictures, and some of you do videos, I'm sure. But you look back, and I look at pictures of myself, and I'm going, well, I used to dye my mustache and my goatee way too dark. I look like Guido. Shannon always says that. You look like a guy from the 80s videos going, let's do lunch, right? But I don't know. She wasn't telling me at the time. But look at some of my older videos. It's just kooky, Look at those shorts. Yes, Surf Boy. Those were actually exercise I was always wearing. I remember I ran into a woman once that said, why do you always wear those things? And I'm going, I don't know. I'm always working out. I'm always running. And and I'd gone through a breakup. So you know what happens when you go through a breakup? You either go downhill or else you go nuts on making yourself feel better and look better. And that's what I was doing back there. Duran Duran's album, this is from Tim, it says, Duran Duran's album hasn't received any publicity whatsoever. It's a good album. I didn't even know they released an album. My birthday is Friday the 7th. Oh, right on. Showstopper Rob. Happy birthday if I don't talk to you before that. Brick Top 40. I saw ABBA live in 79. That was awesome. I would buy a pay-per-view. Yeah, there you go. I'm slumping. I'm looking at myself over here. I'm like slumping. I'm tired. Can you get Peter Cetera on the show? We have an interview with Michael. We have an interview with Peter that was done by a gentleman named Steve Burgess. We used to syndicate radio shows together. And it's when he was releasing his second solo album, which to most people was his first solo album. And he talks about listening to the new Chicago album that he's not on. And he thought it was good. He didn't know why they redid 25 or 624. But he says, what was the point of that? Kim Mitchell is 69. Kim, even though he has no hair anymore, I interviewed him last year, comes across like he's just got it. He's right there. You can tell the rockers when you interview them that have had a tough rocker life because they'll have Ford Probe. That's right. Surf Boy, I love that car. I could have bought the new edition of Mustang that had just been released that year, or I could have bought and I hated that first, when the Mustang came with the new design in the early 90s, I hated that design so much because I thought, I'll buy the new Mustang. Then I saw the new Mustang and I went, I hate the way it looks. And then my friends would say, a Ford Probe looks like a girl's car. And I'm going, what's a girl's car? But I understood what they meant because it had very feminine qualities to it. I guess we'll always have memories and YouTube, right? Yeah, Bill, you're right. Rockchild says, did you ever contact John Ford Coley? Took me months to get him to reply. I'm not sure if Shannon did. I don't think she heard a reply. I'd have to check. I'd have to ask her. She's upstairs doing a research on an artist with secret talents. That's what she's doing. Yes, Michael, John Paul Jones' birthday yesterday. It was all over Facebook. Jimmy Page will be 77 on Sunday. Primetime, they did an hour-long video interview with the Rolling Stones, and even that didn't seem to make anyone aware that they have a new album out. Wow. I own an 84 Mustang. Wow. 68 Roadrunner. I had a 73 Camaro blue with a vinyl top, and then I had a 78 Trans Am, in which I blew the engine listening to Verities and Balderdash by Harry Chapman and Night and Day. Was it Night and Day? Steppin' Out. What's the album with Steppin' Out? Night and Day? Joe Jackson? I was just cranking those two. I kept going back and forth with the songs on each album on a cassette. Gregory says Peter is 71. Kimberly is 73 and looks and sounds great. Kimberly of the Stampeders looks amazing. His name is Kimball. And anyway, I interviewed him last year. We're going to put that up pretty soon. I'm hoping to get Rich as well. I think Shannon's doing that. This was fun. Lots different, a little offbeat. Yeah. Well, when we come on here and talk, it's very easy to get off topic a little bit, right? And yeah, that's what makes it offbeat for me. Rick says Chicago had a new LP in 2015. It was a great album. I was just listening to it yesterday. There you go. That's funny, eh? Sweet Savage, David Lee Roth cancels all Vegas shows. He might be done now. Yeah, that's how this started, by the way. We did a video this morning talking about that and realizing that, wait a minute, this is going to affect an awful lot of other artists. Where, as we mentioned, Elton John is 75. In March, Billy Joel is 72. You know, Billy does that Madison Square Garden thing all the time. Elton John is touring all over the place, and he's having to push back, even though he seems very healthy right now, his dates over and over again, because I don't think he wants himself dead. You know what I mean? It comes down to that. Young, even at 61, almost 62, I'm looking at this and going, I got to be careful here. You know, I've got a lot more to contribute. I like doing this YouTube channel. I especially like coming on live. That's probably turning into my favorite thing of doing this channel. So how long have we been on here? Oh, God, 46 minutes. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up. We got 70 people watching, though. Anybody want to add something? By the way, we do a lot of interviews on this channel, as a lot of you know. If you haven't, Kimberly, a.k.a. Kimball Meyer. Yeah, he is writing a book. And isn't there a documentary for the Stampeders? Isn't there? Aren't they working on one? So, but anyway, if anybody wants to add anything before we come off, a lot of interviews on this channel. There's one coming up in an hour and 15 minutes. Kassem's coming on again, this time of Utopia, formerly of, well, he still works with Todd Rundgren. And he's talking about what he had to do to meet Paul McCartney. If you want the whole interview, it's on Rock History Book. From now on, when we release an interview, when we release part one, we'll always release the entire interview on our sister channel. This is about short clips, except live feeds. They're longer. So there you go. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us. It's cold in here today. It's like cold. It was insanely hot the last few days over Christmas. And today I woke up and I went, I'm freaking freezing. So I'm wearing the sweatshirt. I've got one coming in with Rock History Canada coming in. Can't wait for that to come in. How about Tom Scholz of Boston? Have you tried to interview him? Yes, I've reached out but not heard back. He's 75. Life is good. Thanks, John. Hey, man, thanks for coming back. Thanks, John. Thank you. Freezing in London, is it, Renoir? Oh, wow. Thanks, everyone, for coming on. This is really nice. I mean, here we are. A lot of us are stuck in the house, and there's not a lot we can do. I want a world where I could press a little button and you could come on. And you know, I'd like a world where, as you see all the comments, you can see all the comments, where you'd have the option of going, hey, do you want to come on? Do you want to talk? Do you want to be on screen? Wouldn't that be the greatest thing? And I know you can do that with other software. We're going to have to work at maybe doing that, you know, of getting people on and saying, hey, let's talk. Let's have a big conversation. I mean, they would last for hours, so I'm not sure if that's a great idea. But anyway, we're got to roll, guys. Thank you. Freezing in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Keith, you got to come. Anyway, thanks, guys. Love you guys. Take care of yourself. Please be safe. Please.